I wouldn't have been able to tell this was a Xenoblade game if they didn't preface it by saying it was a Xenoblade game.
Funny thing.
The most exciting and most concerning thing.
So, Xenoblade Genesis. I've sat with this trailer for a bit now, and I think I've finally figured out how I feel about it. Xenoblade Genesis is not the direction I wanted the series to go, and that's okay. When I watched this trailer, I couldn't help but think, this looks like a good JRPG, but does it look like a Xenoblade game? That's the feeling I kept coming back to. When I think Xenoblade, I think giant worlds, massive landscapes, exploration, a group of characters going on some insane journey that slowly unravels into something way bigger than they ever imagined. That's what Xenoblade has always been for me, and when I watched this Genesis trailer, I did get some of that feeling, but I mostly got the feeling that I was watching just a completely different JRPG. One of the biggest reasons for that is the setting. I'm not a huge fan of the school setting for a Xenoblade game. Now, don't get me wrong, I love me some Persona. Persona is one of my favorite JRPG series ever, and when Fire Emblem Three Houses did it, I thought it worked pretty well. But when I think Xenoblade, a school setting isn't really what comes to mind. I think fantasy adventure with some sci-fi thrown in. I think going on a crazy journey. I think seeing places and environments that are literally absurd. So seeing Xenoblade move towards something that feels more structured, like a school setting, just feels strange. Hopefully that's only in the starting hours of the game. The other thing that really stood out to me was the complete lack of just combat in this trailer. Seriously? Like, can we talk about that? Because Xenoblade combat is one of the most unique things about the entire franchise. The game drops next year, so I was just expecting a little bit more. Love it or hate it, nobody really makes games that play like Xenoblade. That MMO-inspired combat, the art system, positioning, chain attacks, party synergy, it's one of the defining features of the series. So when your reveal trailer doesn't show any combat at all, I can't help but wonder, why? This is something that I've noticed with a lot of Japanese developers. Sometimes it feels like they're just afraid to show the game that they've made. Maybe it's because they want to focus on the story and world first, I don't know, but if you're revealing a Xenoblade game, showing the combat feels like a pretty important thing to do. Now, with all that said, I'm not mad, because the more I think about it, I think that this Xenoblade Genesis title was very intentional. But partly, I think my slightly negative reaction comes from Xenoblade 3, right? Xenoblade 3 felt like the ultimate culmination of everything the franchise has been building towards. You had connections to Xenoblade 1, connections to Xenoblade 2, familiar races, familiar themes. It felt like a celebration of the entire series. Then Genesis gets revealed, and it's just such a hard pivot, man. New world, new setting, new tone, new characters, new everything. Maybe that's what Monolith Soft wanted, though. Maybe they looked at Xenoblade 3 and said, we've told that story, time to move on. If that's the case, I respect it. The more I think about it, the more I feel like Genesis was designed to create distance from the previous games. Not because Monolith Soft is trying to abandon Xenoblade, but because they're trying to give themselves room to do something completely new. And honestly, that's probably healthy for the franchise, even if it's not exactly what I wanted. You know, I'm a Trails fan. I like when things build up on one another. But, man, I will say this. There are quite a few things that I really liked. So, enough doom and gloom, let's talk about that. First of all, this title, right? Xenoblade Genesis. Man, say what you want about the trailer, but this gotta be the toughest name for a video game I've ever heard. It's the little things for me. It really is. Xenoblade Genesis sounds like the name of some ancient prophecy that accidentally destroys the universe. It just sounds so cool. It's one of the coolest video game titles I've heard in a long time. So, props to them on that. The other thing I really liked was the races of this world. I mean, this game is filled with elves to the top, all the way to the bottom. And honestly, I just wasn't expecting it. From previous Xenoblade games, we have stuff like the High Entia, the Machina, all of these cool looking races, but we just straight up have elves in this game, and sign me up, dude. I love Tolkienberg from Metaphor Fantasio. I love Frieren. It's one of my top 5 favorite anime. I'm fully on board with elves. The world itself also just looks pretty cool. These mountable creatures, I don't even know what they're supposed to be. They look like wolves, horses, wolf horses. I have no idea. I just know I want to ride one. These things just look awesome. And there's one more thing that I just feel like I have to point out. There's no Nopon, and if Nopon don't exist in this world, that legitimately might be the greatest thing Genesis has introduced so far. I'm kidding, kind of kidding, not kidding. Look, at the end of the day, I don't think Xenoblade Genesis looks bad or horrible. I don't think it looks disappointing. I think it looks like a really good JRPG. It's just, I'm not convinced this is the Xenoblade game I wanted or expected. Maybe Monolith Soft wants Genesis to be the starting point of something completely different. I mean, it is in the title. Maybe they want a fresh start, a fresh foundation they can build off of for the next decade. I saw one comment that was really cool, but the next entry would be Xenoblade Exodus and then Xenoblade Revelation. Honestly, those are some tough names. I can get behind it. Regardless, though, I'm looking forward to Xenoblade Genesis. Sometimes the best games are the ones that surprise us, and now I'm curious. Am I the only one that watched this trailer and thought, this looks cool, but is this Xenoblade? Let me know what you think down below.